We are recording, so we can get started after a quick countdown. You're gonna count, or am I gonna count? I'll count.
You,
Five,
you
four,
can.
three, two, one. I'm gonna mess that up in a different way every single time we do this.
Mhm.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BrOtaku Alliance podcast, or welcome if this is your first time here. If it is your first time here, you're gonna love us. I promise. My name is Sean. That is Tyrese, and this is the
Hello.
podcast. Yes, hi, hello. I didn't say hello, did I?
Yeah, no, you didn't.
I didn't.
You,
Very rude of
you
me.
just said your name.
Right, my bad. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. How's the kids? You look great. This is the podcast where we talk about anime, manga, comics, and just other nerd shit in general. In case you can't tell from our handsome faces, we are nerds. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell with guys who are as smooth and suave and debonair as us.
Yep.
Tyrese has a Scarface poster, for God's sakes. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So before we got started, Tyrese let me know some pretty exciting news, which is that you are officially done with Whole Cake Island.
Finally. I was sick and tired of hearing Big Mom saying wedding cake for like 10 or 20 pages.
Yeah. See, that's what I was saying. Like, that experience was different reading it week to week.
Like,
it was tough.
Especially the whole Luffy and Katakuri fight. I can't even imagine the hell you manga readers had to go through when it first came out.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough. Like I said, in hindsight, if you go back and just binge it, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But week to week, it was pretty tough. So you're finished the Reverie little mini arc as well, right?
Oh yeah.
So give me like your little review, I guess, of Whole Cake Island and Reverie.
So I can start with Whole Cake Island. So that was pretty interesting. You know how everybody like split up to do like their different objectives. Luffy and them went up to go get Sanji. Zoro then went up to go to Wano to start their little like infiltration plot to take down Kaido. And I think there's another group that's like trying to find Marco. The other mates.
Yeah. I think Duke. What's his name? Duke. No. Actually, it was Neko Momoshi.
Yeah.
Went to go find Marco.
Mm-hmm.
And Marco was actually on is it Food Valton, I think? Which is Whitebeard's home island.
Yeah, and he became the town doctor.
Yeah, yep, and became the town doctor. This is also when we find out that Marco was the ship doctor on Whitebeard's ship.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting because Marco's been on Whitebeard's ship since he was like in his very early teens.
So I would assume.
Yeah. So, obviously he has healing abilities with the devil fruit that he has, but he's actually a trained doctor now. So it's interesting. I don't know if he learned that while on the ship or if he left for a little while to study or what, but yeah, Marco's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chopper's a doctor too, and he's pretty young. When he first joined the Straw Hats, he was 15, I think.
Yeah.
So, but still, he was training for like almost his entire life.
Pretty much.
But
and he's super useful.
Yeah, exactly.
I just realized something. Before I get to my whole review, I just realized something. Luffy got nothing but the best of the best in his crew.
Pretty much.
He has the best everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
The best swordsman, kind of. He's on his way to become the best swordsman.
Yep.
The best navigator. The best sniper king.
Yep. Well, it remains to be seen about Usopp being the best sniper because his dad is still out there.
Oh yeah, his dad's still out there. Yasopp.
Yeah.
The best archaeologist.
Yasopp is a beast from what we've been told.
Yeah. I can't wait to see more of Shanks and his crew.
Yeah. Hopefully next arc.
Yeah.
And in the movie, I think Film Red.
Oh yeah. It's coming out on August 6th.
Yep. Day after my birthday. That might be my
plan. Oh, it is? Oh wow. Yeah. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That might be my plan for that weekend because I booked a picnic spot at Lemon Hill for a little cookout. Nice. but that's
Nice.
not until the afternoon. So in the morning or maybe in the evening, I might go see Film Red. Yeah.
Solid birthday plan.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it.
So where was I at? Oh, like a whole cake island.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so there was some moments that were like good, but there was also most of the scenes that was like pretty sad. With we get more backstory on Sanji and his asshole of
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. And his backstory and the character design of like what he went through, like the visual, is very reminiscent of Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah.
That old movie. I don't know if that movie was based off of a book or a play or anything, but it was an old Leonardo DiCaprio movie. I don't. Did you ever see Man in the Iron Mask? So that whole scene with like Sanji having to wear the Iron Mask and like even his blonde hair, it was just like you could tell it was very heavily inspired by that
Yeah.
movie. So I thought that was cool too. Oda loves to throw in those pop culture references and things like that into the story. So I thought that was cool,
Yep.
but very sad as well.
It was very sad. And it and the whole like thing of Whole Cake Island, it actually got me like it actually gave me respect for a couple of characters that was like involved with the whole assassination plan with Big Mom Beige, even though they didn't really give him the credit, Luffy was the one apparently that
Yeah,
came up with the whole assassination plot.
right, right. Yeah, I don't know if it gave me more respect for Beige because from what I heard, he was like a pretty shisty guy,
Yeah.
and that kind of like proved that point even more
Mm-hmm.
because if I remember correctly, he voluntarily joined Big Mom's crew, married one of her daughters, had a kid,
It had a son.
and then plotted to assassinate her. So it was like okay, it plays into his character very much, of him being like the mafioso, mob guy. So
Yep.
it wasn't unexpected, but it was definitely like it was one of those things that made me maybe look at him, I guess, a little bit differently. I was very happy that he had that plan though, because it obviously helped
Yeah.
the Straw Hats a lot. But yeah, and I think the thing that I liked the most about seeing Beige was just the extra information that we were given on his devil fruit and like the
Oh
other things that
yeah.
it can do.
The castle
Because
fruit. That was an interesting devil fruit.
yeah, like we saw some of it when he was first introduced in Sabaody. Um, like very briefly when they were showing the supernovas basically escaping the island.
Yep.
When the Marines showed up, but seeing like that scene where he first comes to pick up Sanji from Zoe,
Mm-hmm.
and then seeing him fight, the Big Mom pirates. Honestly, his devil fruit is low key like one of the most useful devil
It
fruits,
is.
especially for a captain.
Yeah.
Like to be able to carry your entire crew and more on your person, basically. Like imagine if you could fit like 45 people in your pocket.
Right.
Like that's extra, and horses and cannons.
Yeah. Have a shit
So
ton of guns inside his body to use anytime he wants to. And
right,
as soon as they like start shooting their bullets, they literally like become actual size bullets. You won't
right,
even see it coming.
right. Yeah. I that whole scene with Beige really made me rethink like, damn, like he might have one of the most useful devil fruits in the entire story.
I can't even imagine what it'd be like if it was awakened.
Exactly.
Like what would it gonna be like if it's awakened though?
I have no idea. And honestly at this point I'm starting to question, you'll see later on in Wano why I say this, but I'm at the point where I'm starting to question who exactly is awakened and who isn't.
Oh, in terms of devil fruits?
Right, because it's kind of hard to gauge now because previously the only real examples that we had of awakened devil fruits were Doflamingo and
Yep.
the guards of Impel Down who were awakened zones.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've seen some other characters who are awakened, and it's starting to make me think that not all awakenings look the same.
Yeah.
So when Beige, there's that moment in Whole Cake Island where he does turn into a full castle, and he's like a tank basically. And I'm looking back, I'm like, damn, is Beige already awakened or not?
That's a good question.
Because he does go full on castle. Like he turns into an actual castle. So I thought, that was, but then again, it's like typically the way that it's been working so far is that paramecia zone type devil fruits, when they awaken, they simply get increased strength, durability, speed. When paramecia types awaken, and we haven't seen a Logia awaken either.
I was about to say we never seen a Logia awakener.
Yeah, but it is implied that Akainu and Aokiji are awakened, because the way that it was sort of broken down was that when zones awaken, they get that increased physical abilities. When paramecias awaken, if their ability is something that affects themselves,
they can affect the areas.
Right. The awakening allows them to affect the area around them.
Yep.
So with Doflamingo, he can obviously create and manipulate strings, but when he awakened his devil fruit, he could literally turn other things into string.
Yep. I thought it was crazy.
Right. That was insane. The ground, buildings, whatever it was, he could turn it into string and manipulate it the same as his own strings.
Yep.
Or if your devil fruit is something that allows you to manipulate other things, your awakening allows you to manipulate your own body or other living creatures. So if you're somebody like, I'm trying to think of an example. So I'm trying to think of a good example of somebody similar with a similar devil fruit. So Katakuri. Or no, Katakuri is more like Doflamingo.
Yeah, you can affect the area around. It's like Doflamingo.
Yeah, but if you're somebody who's awakened and your ability allows you to manipulate like your own body or something involving you or your immediate surroundings, your awakening allows you to manipulate other things around you. But if it's the opposite and your regular devil fruit manipulates other things, the awakening allows you to manipulate living creatures or your own body. With Logias, it's the ability to render permanent change. So when
I guess that kind of makes sense. I guess in Marineford, when Aokiji like froze the ocean, it just stayed frozen.
Well, yes,
and like that,
but permanent change to the environment.
Okay.
So the reason why they think Aokiji and Akainu are awakened is because Punk Hazard, where they fought, was not like that before they fought. It was a regular island. However, after they fought, half of the island is a frozen wasteland where it's constantly snowing and cold, and the other half is on fire and is lava and magma. So their awakenings allow them to make permanent changes to the environment of the island, not just freezing one area, but actually like making the environment itself cold, like turning the island into half of the island into a winter island. Because remember when we first met Aokiji, he said when he froze the water to help those people escape that island. When the Straw Hats first came across him, on what was that the end of
Long
that
Ring Link,
Long Land, something like that.
Something like that.
So when he froze the ice, he said this should last about a week. Which was enough time for them to walk to the next island. But Punk Hazard, it's been much longer. It's been like over a year.
Yeah.
And that environment has still remained the same. Same thing with the hot, side with Akainu. So that's what most people believe the Logia awakening probably looks like. But again, it's not confirmed yet. Yeah. So it's just speculation.
But I believe it.
Yeah. And a lot of people believe that Katakuri is probably awakened as well.
I thought he was, because when he fought Luffy, he was able to turn the whole ground into mochi and trap
Yeah,
Luffy under the mochi. So I assumed
yeah,
he was already awakened.
right. His yeah, most people assume he's awakened, and most people, because the problem was when Oda first created Katakuri, when the data books came out or whatever, it was revealed that he was a paramecia.
Mm-hmm.
But then his powers were sort of similar to a Logia, so then his uh in the data book the category of his devil fruit was changed to special paramecia, which as of right now he's the only special paramecia character in the story.
Really?
And the reason why is because mochi is not a naturally occurring element,
It's not.
so he technically can't be a Logia. But also the way his devil fruit works, it looks really similar to a Logia.
Mm-hmm.
So what people were kind of assuming was that in reality, his body, his power is probably more similar to Luffy's, where his body literally is mochi.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like a Logia power where if you cut him, it just like nothing happens. What happens is his observation haki is so advanced that he can
Yep.
predict where you're about to hit him, and he can literally just turn that part of his body into mochi.
Yeah, that's what Luffy found out in this battle. He was like, "Why can't I hit you?" And then I
Yeah,
realized it's your observation hockey. You unlock future sight, and you can
yeah,
predict when I'm about to hit, where I'm about to hit you to make it look like I can't hit you.
right. It's similar to what you know Toby was doing in Naruto. So like if you anybody, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen Naruto by now. But most people thought like he was intangible when really he was using the Mangekyo Sharingan to
Yep.
send the part of his body that was about to get hit to the other dimension. So you were basically hitting just an empty space.
Yeah.
Same thing Katakuri was doing. So he's not a Logia. He's a special paramecia.
Paramecia.
But that special paramecia is sort of along the lines of what Luffy's devil fruit was classified as.
Yeah.
But that Katakuri fight was great though.
It
It was
definitely
long.
was.
It was very long, but it was good.
Mm-hmm. Especially
So,
when Luffy introduced Snake Man. Oh my
oh
god.
yeah, yeah, that was a very hype moment.
It was.
Um, what were your thoughts on Sanji making the cake?
I had no doubts that Sanji was gonna like explode Big Mom's taste buds because he's literally at the best chef. He could pretty much make anything.
Right, pretty much.
I believe he should belong in Food Wars. If I'm being completely honest with you.
I mean, it wouldn't be much of a war. He'd win immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like, what did you think about him deciding to do it though? Because it was very unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was almost a hindrance to them escaping.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. That was like the perfect chance for them to escape. And as soon as she had her full, as soon as she ate all the cake, she sent her ship to like blow them up. I was
Yeah,
like, that was the perfect diversion.
yeah,
We could have waited until like Beige was like farther out. Like he could have like went to like a bigger island or like a farther island to
hmm
drop off the cake. That way it could have gave him time for them to escape.
or they could have escaped the opposite direction.
Mm,
Like they could have literally split up and went in opposite directions.
that's true.
I don't. I mean, that seemed like it was a good idea to me. But
Yeah.
Sanji's like, he's got this thing where he just has to feed people.
I mean, he
And
gets that. I understand that he gets all that from Zeph.
yeah, yeah. But Zeph at least knew, like, I'm not feeding nobody that's about to attack me. Sanji's a lot more kind-hearted, I think, than Zeph was
Yeah.
in his day.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with Don Krieg, when they first got there, Zeph was silent. He was like, I'm not gonna kick you out, but I'm not about to make food for you and your whole crew. Cause Zeph knew. Sanji was the only one who was like, I trust him. And Zeph was like,
Yeah.
all right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, that was the one point where I was like, all right, Sanji. Like, a lot of people now are upset, not upset, but the thing that they don't like about Sanji's character is how much of a perv he's become. Because in the beginning he was definitely like in love with women, like he was he was
Yeah.
that character, you know, who was like always trying to hit on girls or whatever. But ever since Thriller Bark, when the whole shower scene happened,
Oh yeah.
and like he admitted that he wanted the clear fruit so he could spy on women. Ever since then, it seems
That
like
was so
Sanji's.
funny.
It seems like Sanji's just been getting more and more perverted.
Oh my god,
But
that was so
that's
funny.
that's like the problem most people have with his character. For me, it's his incessant need to just feed people
Yeah.
who don't necessarily deserve it. So that was a big point of contention for me. That point in the story where I was like, why are we doing this?
Why are we feeding her?
Yeah. Why? Like there's nothing good that's gonna come from this. She's
She
not gonna say,
literally
"Oh, it's so good, I forgive you." Like that's not gonna happen.
No. She literally made the entire wedding just to kill everybody.
Including him. Him
including
first.
Him first. So I
It
don't
didn't
know
make
why. It didn't
it
make
didn't
sense.
make any sense. No, none at all. None at all. So here's the thing. Well, never mind. I don't want to tell you because it's kind of a spoiler. So I'll let you get to it. But it's involving some of the aftermath of the escape from Whole Cake Island. You saw Jinbei stayed behind to help the rest of the Sun Pirates escape.
Yeah.
There's a little stuff going on right now in Wano where people are waiting for some explanations as to exactly how that went.
Oh yeah, I'm wondering. I'm curious too. How is he gonna escape from Big Mom? But I guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Right. So now on to after Whole Cake Island, which was Reverie. Everybody loved Reverie.
Oh my god.
There's not a single person who was like, coming out of Whole Cake Island, there's not a single person who was like, Reverie was okay.
No, Reverie
everybody
was
loves
good.
it.
Yeah, I actually did like Reverie. We get to see tidbits of all the world leaders that was brought to Reverie. We got to see some old characters like Vivi, Shirahoshi, and Rebecca.
Kobe.
Oh my god, Kobe.
Yep. Kobe's the man now.
He is.
We get to see a little bit more of Kobe and Wano too.
Really?
Yeah, I won't spoil too much of it for you, but we do get to see some more of Kobe and Wano, and he's up to some big stuff.
Okay.
There's some big stuff going on in the world. But you know, Wano's an isolated nation.
It's like its own. Closed. Yeah, it's his own independent nation.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the world post Reverie, but the Straw Hats don't know. And they're judging from where we are in the story right now, they're probably about to find out. But as you saw, a lot of stuff went down at Reverie.
Oh yeah, got to see more Marijois, the Holy Land where the celestial dragons reside, and then I saw the empty throne.
Right.
Empty emphasis on empty.
Right, air quotes on empty.
Even though Emu sits on it, whoever Emu is, and then I was wondering why was Shirahoshi's like picture clawed up, like scratched up, but then I realized Shirahoshi is an ancient weapon.
So there was a few. Yeah, she's Poseidon. There was a few people that Aim had pictures of. He or she had Shirahoshi, Vivi, Luffy, and Blackbeard.
Yep.
Obviously, we as the readers know all those are very important characters.
Yes.
But it's tough. We know how they're related, and the only way that they're really related is through Luffy.
Yeah.
Because Luffy knows all of them. Mm-hmm. But how Emu knows of their relation or of their importance has yet to be seen.
And then,
which is interesting.
And then after that, we see the big ass straw hat that was like frozen. I had questions about that too.
Because it's interesting because Doflamingo hinted at knowing about the secret treasure underneath Marijois.
Yeah.
It looked like when Im was going down there that there were actually like 7 doors or 7 rooms. And the one that he goes into has the giant straw hat that's frozen. So that was interesting. Obviously, a whole bunch of theories there. Nothing's really been explained on that yet.
It'll always go back to this straw hat.
Yep. And it's important to note that it is a giant straw hat. It's not
It's
the
a giant.
same. It's
It's a
not the
giant
same
straw hat.
size or same kind of straw hat as Luffy's. It's much bigger, and it looks very old, and it's frozen. So they must be trying to preserve it for some reason.
Probably have something to do. Most likely have something to do with the Void Century.
Yeah, and a lot of people suspect it probably has something to do with Joy Boy.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see about that eventually, I guess.
Oh my god! Now I gotta read more. Now this makes me
Yeah.
want to read more.
We have learned in Wano. We have learned a little bit more about Joy Boy. A very little bit, but very important little bit, but a very little bit. Let's see what else. Oh, so the invasion of Marijois, by the Revolutionary Army. You don't really see it in Reverie. You know it happens.
Yeah.
In Wano, they explain again a very little bit of what transpired, and also what the 20 Kings decided to do during Reverie. Because remember, there was a reason why the Reverie is a very it's like a traditional thing. It happens every, I think, 4 years.
Yeah.
But when the 20 Kings meet up, they make a decision of some kind. And in Wano, they explain on what that decision ended up being. And that decision was brought forth by Nefertari Cobra of the Nefertari family of Alabasta, and also King Riku of Dressrosa. And you can imagine what decision they might want to be put in place, what they might have in common. Them two as leaders of those two nations and what they just went through.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I just thought about it. Yep.
Well, you can say it.
It's about the seven warlords.
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
Two incidents of that happening. Two warlords poses as heroes, but had a plot to take over the country or destroy it in some way. Yeah. Fujitoro wants to take down the seven warlord system too. I don't blame him.
And he was also at Reverie.
Yeah, he was also there too with the Green Bull.
Yes, with Admiral Green Bull, whose name we know, by the way. Green Bull is his epithet. All the different admirals have like epithets. Green Bull, Fujitoro means purple tiger.
Yeah, they're all named after the Chinese zodiac.
Yeah, right. So, Green Bull, we find out his actual name too. Just recently, like 3 chapters ago.
He's very interesting. When he was talking with Fujitoro was like, "You're not gonna eat too." I was like, "Nah, but if a girl feed me, I wouldn't mind." I'm so lazy. I haven't eaten for like 4 years. I was like, "Wait,
yeah."
You never ate for 4 years?"
I think he said he hadn't eaten in like 3 years, maybe, or 2.5. Like it was a long
years?
time.
Yeah.
And we learned we learned a little bit about his power.
I'm about to say, does he have a devil fruit?
He does. We learn a little bit about the nature of his devil fruit and how exactly that might be possible that he's not dead yet for not eating for that long. So, he's an interesting character for sure. And his power seems extremely strong. His power doesn't really match his personality all that much. But I think it's kind of cool, honestly. Like it's a cool contrast. But it is very strong. But yeah, Green Bull is an interesting character. I'm trying to think of anything else that happened during Reverie that was worth note besides Oh, somebody showed up to talk to the Gorosei. You forgot?
Did I forget?
A very well-known pirate came by himself to talk to the Gorosei, the 5 Elder Stars, the leaders of the world government.
Oh yeah, yep. To talk about a certain pirate.
Yeah, so Shanks goes and walks into walks into
Just
Marishma.
he just walks in there like all casual. It's like
Yeah,
what it, at least he covered himself up so nobody would see him. But still, though,
covers. Yeah, he puts like a hood on
he puts like a hood on. But
and just goes and has a little sit down with the Gorosei.
and they just allow it to happen.
Yeah, and they're like, if it was anybody else, we'd kill you, but because it's you. And it's interesting. I love Shanks, but things like that make me wary of Shanks.
Yeah,
I think Shanks, honestly, I think things like that to me give a little bit more insight as to number one, just how strong Shanks is, but also what he possibly knows. Um, because if you think about it, there's only one other character who we've seen who's able to just live their life in peace, even though they're extremely strong and the government should want them dead, and that's Rayleigh.
Yeah, that is true.
We already know what Rayleigh knows. He knows pretty much everything.
He knows everything Roger knows. Roger himself told him.
Well, he was there.
He was there too.
Rayleigh was there. Shanks, which is interesting because Shanks,
from what I
can tell, he was also there, but he was very young.
Also, he wouldn't have remember.
Yeah, and there was some other I can't remember exactly. They explained a little bit more in Wano. A lot of stuff happens in Wano. I mean, it's the longest arc in the history of the series so far. So
I bet.
So a lot of stuff happens in Wano. But you know, it was unclear how much Shanks actually knew.
Oh, yeah, because I was wondering too.
But I think now, like after seeing that scene with the Gorosei, like it's become extremely clear that Shanks knows more than I think most people realize. Even Kaido knew more than most people I think expected reading the story. Kaido knew a fair bit of information as well. So it seems like the information that the Straw Hats have sort of been hunting for and slowly collecting along their journey amongst the top level, you know, people in the story, the top pirates, the top world nobles, the information is actually known amongst quite a few people. Which is very interesting because up until this point in the story, everyone that we've seen who knows anything or comes close to knowing anything, the government is immediately like, no, kill them.
Yep.
Get them out of here. So finding out that there are actually people who do know, who are just kind of out there living their lives is really interesting. And it sort of turns the tables, I guess, on what exactly the world government's goal is. Because even then, like, you know, towards the end of Reverie, after that conversation with Shanks, we saw the Gorosei go and, you know, when Im sits on the empty throne, the Gorosei ask him like, all right, who do we have to erase from history next?
Yep.
You know, whose light will be extinguished next? And it shows that there's a very meticulous, I guess, process that the Gorosei or Im go through to decide who is actually a threat.
Yep.
Because I guess it was decided that Rayleigh just wasn't a threat.
Even though he is the right-hand man of the Pirate King, also known as Dark King Rayleigh.
Right. But I guess to this point, I mean, they've been right. He hasn't been doing anything.
That's true.
Same thing with Shanks. Shanks probably could have found the One Piece a long time ago if he wanted to.
That's true. He was there with them in Laugh Tale, but I guess he wouldn't remember since he was so young.
Shanks, Whitebeard, like there are even Kaido. Kaido probably could have found it, but Kaido's been in Wano, like
getting drunk.
Yeah, getting drunk. So Big Mom as well. So I think you know, it does go to show. It's kind of like how should I put this? It's kind of like how cops go after certain like cartel, like El Chapo. Like El Chapo's been arrested so many times, but I'm sure there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of people who work for him that are walking the streets,
like today,
free. Yeah, so it's like it shows that the government with the not just the bounties, but also with whatever the Gorosei and Eam are doing, are really sort of picking their targets a little bit more carefully than we originally thought. It's not just if somebody has a bounty, they're immediately, they got to be killed or put in impel down. Some people are allowed really to just kind of be and just exist without really having any trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, it really like goes to show the thought process of what they're doing. Like they really like go out. They really like put all their like energy on who's the most biggest threat. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine Blackbeard would be on there. I'm assuming
Yeah, yeah,
since Emu already had like his wanted like poster all
yeah.
scratched up. So I'm assuming
And
Emu has
and
Blackbeard in his watches.
the interesting thing is that Blackbeard, Luffy, and Shirahoshi all make sense. But the one that didn't really make sense was Vivi.
Vivi, she's not an ancient weapon. The only thing I can think of was the existence of Pluto, but I don't think she knew that much about Pluto.
No, she didn't. Um, her dad did,
Her dad did. That's a shock.
but and it was also revealed that the Nefertari family were actually part of the original 20 kings that started the world government. They
Right.
just decided not to go to Marijwa. They decided to
Mm-hmm.
stay in their homeland.
Yep.
So technically speaking, Vivi is a celestial dragon.
Yeah.
Um, same as Cobra. But for whatever reason, like up until this point in the story, she's just been another princess, another
Yeah.
royal, a very important one, and we know that see, what's interesting is that typically what we've seen with the poneglyphs, that they're always in the hands of nations that are not allied with the world government, or nations that are in some way connected to the Void Century, to Joy Boy, or the Ancient Kingdom.
Yeah.
So the idea of the Nefertari family being part of the original 20 kings, but at the same time having a poneglyph, means that they were probably like double agents. Like they probably were really allies of the Ancient Kingdom, allies of Joy Boy, but joined the world government as a means of gathering intelligence, or maybe trying to bring them down from within. And maybe Eam is kind of catching on that Vivi is really on the side of somebody like Luffy, more so than the world government.
Yeah.
Especially after the world government has more or less failed them. Like,
Multiple times.
The world government had put into place the seven warlord system, which caused their country all the pain that it did, and Luffy was the one that came in and saved them. So it makes sense that that Vivi at this point would be more on the side of probably the pirates than the world government. And if she is next in line, for the throne, it could be that Eam sees her as more of a threat than her dad, because perhaps she has a closer connection with the kid who may very well be the next pirate king.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's all speculation at this point. Like I said, Shirahoshi, Blackbeard, Luffy, that all makes very clear sense. Blackbeard and Luffy are trying to be the pirate king. They're trying to get the laugh tail. Shirahoshi's an ancient weapon. Like that just makes sense. Vivi is the one that's still kind of up in the air. And now after Wano, they've given some more explanation as to what exactly happened at Reverie. And a lot of shit happened after the initial scenes that we see in the actual Reverie arc. When it cuts to Wano, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I love that Oda did it that way, because Wano is an isolated nation. So in addition to the characters and the people who are in Wano not knowing what the hell is going on outside of Wano, we also don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
So he doesn't give us, he cuts away from that altogether. Typically, like we've seen in the past with things that are happening outside of whatever the Straw Hats are doing, we'll still see it, whether it's in a cover story or just different sort of like flashes of what's going on around the world. There hasn't been any of that in Wano. there's small pockets sort of in between because Wano's broken up into parts. So there's only been like these small pockets in between the parts where we get like a little bit of information as far as what's going on outside of Wano. But other than that, we're as much in the dark as like the
As
Straw
Luffy
Hats are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know what happened at Reverie. We just
That
know
was a nice little
something.
touch,
We just
though.
know something happened.
Yeah.
And it's probably involving Vivi and Cobra and Sabo.
Yeah.
Because we know that, like I said, the Revolutionary Army was planning a, invasion, I guess, of Marijoa, with Sabo and the other commanders.
Basically declaring war on the Celestial Dragons.
Yep, and something happened. That's all we know. Something big happened. Yep.
And what I'm more interested to know about is Jewelry Bonnie's relationship with Kuma. After she saw him, after Celestial Dragon took him as a slave, that was sad.
Because Kuma apparently is a king.
Yeah.
Apparently Kuma is royalty, and Jewelry Bonnie is as well. We don't know exactly their relationship, whether they were actually in a relationship. We also it's become pretty clear now. We really don't know how old Bonnie is.
That's true.
Because she can make herself look however old she wants to. So she might actually be in, her early 40s, maybe late 30s, closer in age to Kuma.
Mm-hmm.
So she might have been, his queen, or whatever. Like we don't really know the nature of their relationship. All we know is that they were close and that Kuma was actually a king, and they were addressing Bonnie as a queen as well, but they were addressing her as under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think apparent that perhaps Bonnie was, older and made herself younger so that she could become a pirate under a different name and search for Kuma. But then we had the whole thing with Akainu where, before the time skip, when Blackbeard caught Bonnie.
Yep.
And Akainu took her into custody and he was like, we caught you again or something like that. And to see her now at Reverie, it means either they let her go or she escaped again. Which is interesting as well, because how the hell do you escape an admiral? So I'm interested in seeing Jewelry Bonnie fight as well, because we still haven't really seen it.
Yeah.
She's the only supernova that we haven't seen actually fight. We've seen her use her power plenty, but we haven't seen her actually fight anybody.
Yeah.
But that was another really interesting point. There's so much going on right now in the story. You can tell Oda, he said himself, after Wano, we're going to be in the final saga of One Piece. And there's just so much happening. You can tell the answers are about to start coming pretty quickly. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also kind of nervous. Because I don't want it to be rushed.
Yeah.
I want him to take his time, but at the same time, I want to fucking know everything.
I do too.
So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait until this break is over. I think it's gonna end right before or right after Film Red comes out. I think right before. I think like August 3rd. No, it's that first Friday. It might be my birthday, actually, August 5th. I think that may be because that's a Friday. I think that might be the first chapter that we get after the break.
Wow, there's so much stuff with Luffy. With the Straw Hats, might go to Marijoa too. Not to mention the whole thing with Albath.
Yep. Gotta go to Elbaf eventually, because we still have to find the other 2 road poneglyphs to get to Laugh-Tale.
Yeah.
So most people assume that one is going to be in Elbaf. And it also seems like one has been moved. Because in Wano there was a flashback and it showed one of the road poneglyphs in a place that the Straw Hats have already been to, and it was not there when the Straw Hats went. So since that moment, the poneglyph has been moved and we don't know where to. So it may be Elbath. It might even be Wano. We haven't seen it in Wano. So there's no way of knowing where the last 2 poneglyphs are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they need 4. Actually, they technically need 3. And I was going back and forth with this on Instagram with somebody about how they only really need 3 to get to Laugh Tale. Everybody was like, no, you need 4 because you got to connect them and it makes an X. And the point in the middle is where Laugh Tale is. And I was like, yeah, but you really technically only need 3 because if you took the 3 and connected them in the form of a triangle, you know that the 4th poneglyph makes a line that intersects with one of those 3 lines. So all you'd have to do is traverse that triangle and eventually you'll hit Laugh Tale. So it's like you really only need 3. But for the sake of time, it's probably easier to just find the 4th and then do the calculations and go straight to Laugh Tale.
Mm-hmm.
But it also might be faster instead of going to find the 4th to just travel that triangle. But whatever. It's not my story, it's Oda's. But we'll see. I'm excited. What do you think the One Piece is?
Good question. Maybe the One Piece was the friends we made along the way.
I fucking hope not. I really hope not. And Oda actually said he said it's not going to be the journey. It's not going to be the friends you made along the way.
Yeah, I know.
He said it. He said it's like it's not going to be something poetic like that. Yeah, it'll be an actual thing. Mm-hmm. So what do you think it might be? Because there's so many different different theories. Some people think the One Piece might be Uranus, the 3rd ancient weapon.
Ooh.
Some people think it might be like some type of actual weapon. Some think it might even be a straw hat, like another straw hat.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that the One Piece is not at Laugh Tale.
It's not at Laugh Tale.
Yeah, I'll tell you my theory. You tell me yours first. What do you think it is?
That's a good question. Oof, what is the One Piece? Oof. I was thinking along the lines something like specifically related to Roger, but I haven't like read more enough because hopefully there's like flashbacks to Roger.
Yeah. Well, there is in Wano.
Oh well, I don't know much about that yet. So hopefully you can tell me yours because hopefully I don't have enough information to go off of though. Because hopefully once I see this flashback, I can like piece it all together. So I know it's something personal to Roger. I know that much.
So they don't really explain or give any more insight as to what the One Piece is in the Roger flashback. However, and also it's not a Roger flashback necessarily. It's an Odin flashback. Momonosuke's dad.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing that I sort of theorize regarding the One Piece and what it actually is, I think the One Piece is the world itself. Because if you look at the One Piece world, it's divided in half. It's divided in 4 pieces, really. The North Blue, East Blue, South Blue, and West Blue.
The 4 oceans.
Right, and they're divided by the Grand Line, which runs horizontally, and the Red Line, which runs vertically.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of the ancient weapons have been described as something powerful enough to destroy an island. I think when you get to Laugh Tale, there's going to be a poneglyph or several poneglyphs that explain the history of the world, like the Void Century, and also the nature of, like the true nature of the 3 ancient weapons. And I think at some point, the Straw Hats are going to possess or be allied with all 3 ancient weapons. And in doing so, because each one has the power to destroy an island, with the 3 of them together, they'll have the power to destroy the Red Line.
I mean, shit, they're already allies of one of them. I wouldn't.
Right. So if you have the power to destroy the Red Line, specifically in the middle, where
Marie's Y is,
where the Red Line and the Grand Line intersect, You could literally, through that one point, connect all 4 oceans and the Grand Line into one ocean. This would be essentially the culmination of almost everybody's dream, because Robin would obviously learn the Void Century history. Sanji would see the all
Get
blue.
the all blue.
And because Marijoa is above Fishman Island, if Luffy does this, he would be following Madame Shirley's prediction, her premonition of destroying Fishman Island, because all the rubble and the ground of the Red Line would crumble down on top of Fishman Island.
That's smart.
And Shirahoshi and Luffy would have to evacuate the citizens by putting them all in the Noah and having the Sea Kings carry them out. And they would probably live at Sabaody.
Yeah.
So
like how they always wanted to.
Right. So I think what is in Laugh Tale is the information. And what they do with it is they literally destroy the Red Line and create the One Piece, the one ocean. All 5 oceans really connected into one.
Wow.
That's it. That's my One Piece theory. What the One Piece is.
That's a really good ass theory. I'm not gonna
I don't know. I'm not the first person to like speculate that. I don't know if it's 100% correct or not.
Well, all that would make sense though.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because like you said, it would tie into everybody's dreams.
Yeah. And it would make it easier for people to travel, which is also not what the world government wants. As of right now, because people are so isolated, it's a lot easier to manage who hears what news, where people are allowed to go, who can get where.
Yep.
Like, if you're a regular person in the East Blue, you can't get to Marijoa. You just can't. You can't. There's no way. So, it protects them. Being in that spot, being up on top of the Red Line and in the center of the Grand Line, it protects them from outside threats.
Yep.
And it also makes them inaccessible. And then there's the whole theory of like Tequila Wolf, when Robin went to Tequila Wolf and they were building that bridge.
Yep.
A lot of people think that the Celestial Dragons might have ordered that so that the bridge can connect different oceans.
I was thinking that too.
But you would have to like pay a toll or pay a tax in order to use it, which would make them even more rich. And they'd be able to manage even more who's allowed to go where and when.
I was thinking that too. The Celestial Dragons might have something to do with it. Because I remember the little girl said it, that bridge, that they were building that bridge for like hundreds of years.
700 years, I think, or 800 years, yeah.
Yeah. Which would make sense, because I think that coincides with the Void period too, so that might be speculation. I
think they said they started right at the end of the Void Century, like 800 years ago. Same thing with Zoe. Zunisha, the giant elephant, said it was ordered to walk.
Yep.
About 800 years ago. So, there was a lot of things that seem to have been set in motion by the world government or just during that time period that are now starting to, come to a close or come to a head. So yeah, very interesting stuff. I don't know what the One Piece is. That's just my assumption. That's kind of like the widest spread, theory that most people kind of accept as possibly true. But there's a lot of theories though. There's a lot of theories.
It is
some people think the One Piece might be the other moons coming back like down, because the One Piece world has like 5 moons, I think, that they all would like come back down to the actual planet and make an even, just bigger planet. I argue that would probably kill everybody, but I guess it's a thing. you, so but there's a lot of theories though. Some people think the One Piece might just be the information. It might be just a one single poneglyph with all of the information on it. Like, because that, as far as we've seen, each poneglyph only has writing on one side, but they're cubes, so they have like 6 sides. So some people think the One Piece might be one poneglyph with on all 6 sides. There's information about the Void Century, because there has to be information somewhere, because that's where Roger learned the history of the Void Century was on Laugh Tale. So some people think the One Piece might just be that, the information, the whole collective of information collected into one place on one poneglyph, like one giant poneglyph. So that's an interesting theory too. I think that might be onto something.
Yep.
But at some point, I think Oda has to pay off these other things, the other, just Luffy destroying Fishman Island, all these other threads that have been kind of put into motion. I mean, it might be that Luffy destroys the island just to get the people to leave. Because, like, most of them have said, like, I want to go up to the surface. I want to live, I want to see the sunlight. Like, I want to see the actual sun. But then I'm sure when the time comes, some of them are going to be like, I don't know. I heard some of the humans kind of pieces of shit. Like, maybe we should just stay here. Like, he might need to do it just to get them to, like, leave. Yeah. It's like, bro, I'm already here. Like, we're ready to go. What do you mean you're having second thoughts? Like, all right, I'm gonna just destroy the island, so you have no choice but to leave. Sort of like what he did with Kobe. Like, when Kobe was, trying to join the Marines and they were right there, and he was not saying, hey, can I join you guys? Luffy was like, all right, I'll make it very clear that you're not coming with me. Yeah. like at the very least, you may not ask them to join, but I'll make it very clear that you're not coming with me. Yeah. And we're not in the same crew. You're not one of my crew members.
We got different objectives.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows?
So I want to make it painfully clear that we're not on the same side.
Yeah, right. We're friends. We're cool, but we're not on the same side. Yeah. If you want to join the Marines, now's the time. Yeah. Because you tried to get him to do it before, and he ran. Yeah. When Alvida, first attacked that little ocean liner or cruise ship or whatever, and Luffy was like, "There's the Marines. Why don't you ask them to join?" And he was like, "I can't do it now. Like, I'm on a ship with a bunch of pirates," and Luffy was just like, "All right, whatever." But then the second time is like, all right, bro, like, you're not coming with me again. Like, you're not gonna be with me on my pirate ship talking about being the world's greatest Marine the whole time.
We're not doing that.
Like, yeah, we're not doing that.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways that it could go. I trust Oda though.
Regardless. I do too. I have complete faith in him.
Yeah. So, switching gears for a little bit, did you see the trailer for the 1,000-year blood war for Bleach?
I have. I'm so excited.
I am too. Even though that wasn't my favorite arc,
the battles is a different
story. Exactly. So I was talking. So we have a coworker. Well, I'll say we used to have a coworker, because Tyrese isn't my coworker anymore.
Oh, I miss you too.
Anyway, I have a coworker, and he was talking about. We were talking. He basically asked me. He said, "What's your favorite anime?" And I was like, I hate that question. I said I hate that question because I watch different anime for different reasons. I have my favorite manga, which is One Piece for sure. But as far as my favorite anime, I don't really know if I have a single favorite. Yeah. Because some of them aren't particularly great stories, but they have amazing action sequences and great animation. Demon Slayer is another great example. I watch Demon Slayer for the simple enjoyment that I get from it visually, just watching it. Like, the fight scenes, the colors, the animation, everything is just so beautiful. Same thing with the Fate series. Yep. Like, I watched that for that reason alone. I did not watch or read any of the Fate manga or the light novels, excuse me. I didn't particularly enjoy the story all that much. I'm not a huge fan of uh stories that start over, which with each like iteration. Not start over, but like there's a different cast of characters. Like that's part of
With
why I
the
don't really
same
watch.
with the same objective, with the Holy
Yeah,
Grail War and all that.
right.
That I understand.
That's part of why I didn't really watch like JoJo or like Lupin the Third. It's like every season you're getting to know new characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a huge fan of that. But with Fate, the animation, the fight scenes, everything's just so good that it's like I'm gonna watch it still, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it. So asking like what your favorite anime is, I don't know. I just said Attack on Titan because that seemed like the easiest answer, and I do love Attack on Titan. I've watched it multiple times now, and it has great animation, great fight scenes, and also a great story.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this Thousand Year Blood War arc of Bleach has some of the best fight scenes that I've ever read in a manga. And I cannot wait, even though it's not, like I said, it's not my favorite arc that I've ever read of Bleach. I cannot wait to watch this arc.
Mm-hmm.
Because seeing like, because I'm pretty sure, is Mappa doing it? I think Mappa's doing it.
I think Mappa is doing it.
Like, this might be one of the best animated short series of like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like up there with Demon Slayer and Fate, like some of the other just visually stunning anime, because there's so much that happens in this arc and it's almost constant action from beginning to end.
Yep.
So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Especially seeing Kenpachi's Bankai.
Yep.
Seeing the giant cleaver that is his Bankai.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so impractical, but I love it so much. I can't wait. I can't wait. He has one of the best character designs in that entire show. And then like his Bankai was so perfect for him. He was the only person that I can remember seeing whose Bankai actually changed his physical appearance.
Yeah.
And it just worked. It was perfect. I was like, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It fits up to a T.
And it was interesting because he's kind of like Inosuke from Demon Slayer, where he never even really had his own sword.
That's true.
He never had his own Zanpakuto. The one that he was using was somebody else's. He literally killed a Soul Reaper and took his sword. So he could not activate his Bankai or his what is it, Shikai? I think, or I forget what the second one was. But he couldn't activate his Bankai because it wasn't his sword.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still one of the 13 captains and arguably the strongest of the 13.
Yep.
So it's like
not having a Bankai. That's incredible.
He was Kenpachi was Gojo before Gojo.
Yeah.
Like he literally, in the same way that Gojo covers his eyes, or not Sasuke, Itachi covers his eye. Like Itachi covers his eye because if he uses the Sharingan all the time, because he's not an Uchiha, if he uses the Sharingan all the time, it physically drains him way more than it would a natural Uchiha.
Mm-hmm.
Gojo covers his eyes because he's so damn pretty.
Yeah.
And then Kenpachi covers his eye, literally to make the fight more interesting for himself. Like that's the only reason. It's because that eye patch eats away at his spiritual pressure and brings him down to the level of everyone else, so he can enjoy the fight more.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And Ichigo beating him at virtually full strength, you can tell was like, now it was definitely a fluke. Like Kenpachi is the only person who can probably beat Ichigo 1-on-1 and wouldn't even really care.
Yeah, wouldn't even. That's what I love about Kenpachi.
He was amazing. He was definitely my favorite character in that show.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Urahara.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
The only thing I didn't like about Urahara was all the secrets. Because he was stingy with the information. He gave out information when it was convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought wasn't really fair. like, you know, you have valuable information and you just kind of hold on to it just
until it's
because.
most convenient for you.
Yeah. So, but other than that, him and Kenpachi were definitely my two favorites of that show. And knowing what's going to happen with Kenpachi coming up in this arc, it just makes me that much more excited to see it. What about you, dude? Is there anything coming out or anything that's been announced that you're really excited for?
Uh, I know Mob Psycho is getting a new season.
Really? This is my
Yeah.
first time. This is my first time hearing this. I'm very excited for that. I love Mob Psycho so much. I was just telling I was just telling a friend of mine the other day about Reagan.
Okay.
How Reagan's like he's like my favorite character because he reminded me of what were we watching that reminded me of Reagan so much? Or was I watching something? Damn, I cannot remember. I can't remember what I was watching. But I was watching something. It reminded me of Reagan, and it just made me think about him. He's easily my favorite character in that show. The self defense punch. I think that's what it was. It was the self defense punch. It was something like that. That made me think of him. That made me think of him. Oh my god, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And then the moment where he just walks up to I forget the guy's name, the blind guy, because he's got his he's using his power to like detect all the espers in the area, and he detects Mob, and he's like focusing all his attention on Mob and like watching Mob come up, and because he's only trying to detect espers, Reagan literally just walks up to him and punches him in the face, and he's just like, "What the hell?" and Mob's like, "Oh, Master, you're here," and he's like, "Master." Is this guy so strong that he can suppress his entire presence? I didn't even hear him coming. I didn't even feel any spiritual pressure from him. And he doesn't know. Nobody realizes that it's just because Reagan is weak as fuck.
Yeah.
And he's so good. He's such a con artist, but he's so good at it. And he's such a good person. The whole reason he even wanted to fight in that battle altogether was because the insurance company wasn't going to cover the damages to his office. Like that was that's the funniest shit. He was like, "What do you mean it's not covered?" "Oh no, we're gonna go get the son of a bitch who did this and make him pay for my office."
Oh my god.
Bro,
now I want to rewatch
Reagan so much.
Now I want to rewatch Mob. That was so funny.
You know what I've been doing? Like over the past like year or so, maybe 2 years. Whenever I watch something and I really love it and I want to rewatch it, instead of rewatching it by myself, I'll watch somebody react to it on YouTube.
I do that too.
Because it kind of feels like you're watching yourself when you watched it for the first time. And seeing their reactions and stuff, it kind of brings back that feeling that you had when you saw it for the first time. When I saw like that self-defense punch and like Reagan just casually walking up to one of the strongest espers in the world and punching him in the face. I was like, I need to see what other people thought when they saw this. So that's been kind of like my thing. I've been recently watching this group of guys. Well, it's 2 guys and a woman. They actually his YouTube channel is called Sean Tank Top, and he spells his name exactly like how I do mine. And they're really cool, and they've been watching Attack on Titan. They just started season 4. So they're just getting caught up. But it's funny because this is the first anime that they've reacted to.
Really?
And I think this is the first anime that some of them have watched. So, starting with Attack on Titan, you're kind of spoiling yourself. It doesn't get much better from there. But they're really into it though. And it's cool. I like seeing new anime fans, which by the way reminds me, we need to check up on Marquise and see how he's doing with High School.
High School of the Dead.
He told me he watched it. He watched at least like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
He told me too.
So we gotta see. We gotta have him on next week and see what his progress is. See how he's liking it so far.
What's gonna be the next anime we're gonna make him watch?
It has to be something short because we got to keep getting his reactions. We can't have him do One Piece because it's going to be too long.
He's going to complain. So it's got to be something that has like a good anime but with like 12 episodes. I'm trying to think.
Right. I don't know. Maybe like something short. Even if it's not 12, even if it's like 24 maybe or 20. Something kind of short. Let me see. Maybe Fire Force? Season 1 of Fire Force. I'm trying to think. Something else that he'll probably enjoy. That's a good question.
That's a
Anybody,
good question.
if you're watching this, put in the comments what anime should we have Marquise watch next?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah, if you don't know, by the way, Marquise is the other host of the Lowlights podcast along with Tyrese.
Yes, the big boned fellow.
Yes, the thick shouldered fellow.
Yes, the heavy set fellow.
Yes, the wide bodied fellow. He is the other host of the Lowlights podcast along with Tyrese. He is another former coworker of Tyrese.
Oh, he doesn't work there no more? I've been out of the loop. I don't work at Target anymore. I've been out of the loop.
You don't work there anymore.
Oh. Right.
Right. That's why.
Right. Forgot.
You literally just said, I don't work at Target anymore. Like, yeah.
No, because I thought he also didn't work there anymore.
No, he's still there. He's still there.
Oh.
But yeah, he's not a big anime fan, and we recently convinced him to watch High School of the Dead. If you want to see what he looks like, all 272 pounds of him, you can go over to our website, the Black Flag Entertainment website, which is blackflagent.online, and you can check out some episodes of the Lowlights podcast with Tyrese and Marquise, along with the Untitled Hoops podcast with me and Marquise, where we talk about basketball. But if you're reading this, you're probably a nerd. You don't care about basketball. Or watching this, not reading. But go over there and check it out. You can also hear, if you become a member, you can hear Tyrese's amazing story about getting into a fight with the Count from Sesame Street.
Yes, really unfiltered stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that. It's something that you literally have to hear to understand, and you still might not understand it afterwards. But yeah, Tyrese, did you have any other points that you wanted to make while we were here?
No, I think we pretty much went through everything I wanted to talk about.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to check us out next week. Make sure to follow us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Tyrese has a very funny TikTok. He does the Renegade Challenge. No, it's a lie. But we might make him do it if you comment.
Wait, really?
We'll see. He'll do it. But go ahead over to the website, become a member if you want to see that new content that isn't out to the public yet. And we'll see you next time. Peace.